Hey, hi there, it's Great and Glorious, Simply Famous One Day. Nick Dutch back on the camera again. Hi there, how the heck's it going? Alright, now, today we've got a rather interesting inquiry. And it happens once in a while. I get someone as a customer or someone who's inquiring here on my YouTube tarot reading channel and who has had a bad experience with another reader. Now, this inquirer told me in the private message, because that's how you book them, by private message, not in the comment section, remember that everybody, okay? Told me that she had a reader who wouldn't say what the reader was seeing, but would always be knocking on wood and saying, oh thank God it's not me, or something along those lines, thus bringing about a state of fear and panic in the customer. I think that's reprehensible. I think that's probably the most appalling behavior that anyone could ever exhibit. The kind of readers who do this, I think they got something wrong with them. Either they want to deliberately cause pain to somebody else because they themselves are suffering up here, or, in here. Or they think it's somehow witty or amusing to actually fill someone full of fear. I don't think I should be doing that. I feel that the purposes of me sitting down and having a conversation with someone is to try and shed some light on something, provide a different perspective, assist an individual to try and get over an obstacle. And sometimes it's just a question of just being there and just having a conversation, which can actually really help somebody. And that's one of the reasons I'm here for. I mean, these sessions I do, they can turn into counselling sessions at times. And it's more important that we try and find out, the roots of a problem. Yes, we use tarot as well. We use all kinds of other methods, but for the most part, it's a question of trying to provide the right perspective. So, what I'm going to do for you today is I'm just going to give you a reading. I'm going to tell you what I can see here, and I'm not going to give you any bullshit. I'm just going to come straight out with it. That's what it's going to be about, okay? Now, if you've got any further questions, and you definitely need to have a live conversation with someone, I can't do that free. I have to charge for that because I'm poor and it's my job, okay? But I'm doing these videos free so that you can see what I think a good reading is about. Hey, my name's Nick Dutch, and I reckon I'm the best out there. Anyway, here's the reading. See where we can go from here. Okay, this is not a bad reading at all, and I'm going to tell you why. First and foremost, sense of transformation. You've been held back in your life. The reading is talking about the fact that there's been things in your past which seems to have held you back and stopped you from being able to see your life in real truth and clarity and actually be able to enjoy your life. Have there been individuals who've been knocking you down? Have there been opportunities in the workplace or in family or in relationships which have carried on knocking you back? That's the way it seems to me. It looks almost like you've lost a lot of sense of identity, and it feels to me to be actually rather bad and rather cruel that these things have seemed to occur to you, because these signs around the here and now are talking about a sense of change, because inside you there's a great sense of a desire for greater stability, yes, and a sense of happiness and joy. We've got very strong stability signs there and very strong stability signs in the anticipation of the future. You're not the kind of person who wants to let caution to the wind, and I think that's a good thing. Of course, you like to have fun once in a while, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay, so long as, of course, you can afford it and all the rest of that. But this sense of transformation is great, because what you're consciously aware of is something of a negative nature, alright? But what you're subconsciously aware of is a sense of your own inner strength, your own inner power. Now, whoever this reader was who really, really messed around with you, I'm feeling a real negativity inside myself towards them, because I feel that what they did was they noticed the way that your body language was, and they decided to play on it. Because I feel that what I'm seeing here in this reading, the negativity from your past, things which have really knocked your self-esteem back, is what was coming through when you were talking to this individual. And as such, you needed to change. And this individual tried to change it so that you would become more negative and not more positive. Which is... oh, that really makes me mad, okay? And that's putting it nice and simple and straightforward, alright? Reflection on your past, both positive and negative aspects of that, being a sense of a part of a community. Maybe at the moment you're feeling a little more lonely, but I feel that the community around you may have knocked you sideways a bit, rather than necessarily building you up. That's the negative aspect. So it's now a question of working out who you really are, what you're really about, finding like a link to groups, societies, organizations of people who are going to treat you like a human being. I'm not saying like God or Jesus Christ or anything like that. Just treat you like a human being, which I think is something you've just been lacking for a while. Alright? Have you found yourself becoming a bit of a recluse, sort of going into yourself too much? Alright, I'm not going to tell you to stop that, because when you're doing your introspection, that can be a good thing. But when you're introspecting and you're like reaching into yourself and looking at the negative stuff and like petting that and cuddling the negativity and feeding it and making it stronger, it can be bad for you. So you got to start thinking about the positive and start petting that and feeding that. Or alternatively, you got to look back upon yourself, like, quite academically, and try and look back upon your life and use that like a lending library. Go back into it, pick something off a shelf, study it, learn what you have to from your past experience and put it back on the shelf and move on with your life, okay? 2 different attitudes. Progress into your future. Now, your future can't be all that bad. Obviously, we're seeing signs of transformation there and things getting better, which is obviously great. But your short-term future, that's showing signs which I associate with a great deal of happiness. Now, the Fool card speaks of an almost childlike state of happiness, which can sometimes happen if you're oblivious. And being oblivious can sometimes be fun. I like it once in a while. I admit that occasionally I watch Star Trek. Alright, but, there is a sense within the next 3 months you're going to start to come out of yourself. The most powerful signs here for you are the Fool card for your short-term future and the Death card talking about spiritual transformation and becoming stronger, starting from the here and now and working on the inner levels outwards, alright? Further on down the line, a sense of justice, but not really a sense of needing to enforce justice. So I think you're going to start to see that you're going to get what's right coming your way. Alright, I really do. And it's a sense of progress, real progress. So, this is an optimistic reading. It's talking about you coming out of yourself. It's talking about you getting stronger. It's talking about a sense of perspective. It's talking about learning from your experiences. Hopefully directed and guided by some of the things that I've said there, okay? And the longer term future signs, well, there's some very good quality love around there for you. Alright? And there's this sense of peace and balance as well. This is a great reading, and if I was given this reading today, I would be jumping with joy and floating around the ceiling, I'm telling you. It's wonderful. Okay, well there you go. That's basically what I think a good reading could be about. Hopefully that has given you that moment of opportunity so you can just think about where things are and where you're going. Nothing negative has come out in this reading. Life has always got the good and bad in it. Within Freemasonry, they've got that like the checkerboard or chessboard floor pattern. Well, that represents the good and the bad being together, and you go through good and bad points. Now, I think you've gone through enough bad stuff, and now I think it's time to just try and focus your attention on changing things around so you can start to enjoy your life and focus on the good stuff and try and make sure that's what's going to come through for you. And I feel that you are more than equipped to be able to do that. I really do. Alright? I bid you good fortune, God and or Goddess and or none of the above bless, and great and glorious, soon to be famous one day, Nick Dutch, signing out for now. If you've got a reading request, don't shove it in the comment section, shove it in the private message section, okay? And you know how to do that. But if you want to comment, you can, and I'm very happy for you to do that.